Hey everybody, this is Colton with All Media. Today we're going to be doing a video of the connections on the back of your TV and just basically a quick rundown of what they do, what they are, and how they work. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. Alright, so the first ones we're going to talk about are the component in cables. They are located here and here. This TV has two sets, so technically you could use two different component cables to hook up two different devices. Basically the way they work, a component cable uses the red and white, located here and here, for audio. That's basically a whole nother cable. But what these ones do, the green, blue, and red, is they divide the video into three components. One for brightness and two for color information. So basically all three are needed to get you the picture quality on the screen that you're looking for. They do high definition, but they're an older way of doing high definition, and ideally you'd rather just use an HDMI cord. But in a pinch they will work, and yeah, that's the component cables. Here we have the antenna in air, and also the antenna, well, 1 and antenna 2 in cable. So basically the air and the cable, the difference between the two, the air is used for an old antenna to pick up channels through the airwaves. And basically the cable one would be plugged in to get your channel 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of old school cable. Generally those two aren't going to be used much either nowadays because of the now use of the HDMI ports to watch cable boxes on. Cable, the way this was meant, is literally your cable comes from the wall right to the back of the TV, and like I said, then you start changing through the channels. It's not really how things work anymore. So yeah, you can use that also to get a picture from, say, a old school VCR or something like that as well, but generally not used very often anymore. Only on older TVs or when a device has no other option. Alright, the next one is the AV in and the AV out. So these are the cables that everyone's got 2 or 3 of kicking around in a drawer somewhere. Classic red, white, and yellow. What the yellow does, just like it's labeled here, it does video. Without these two, you would have no sound. Without this one, you would have sound and no video. So you have to have all 3 plugged in. These are commonly used for older devices, not so much newer devices. Often like a VHS player, an old camcorder, even old school video games will use those often. And then what you have on the bottom with the AV out, a lot of people will use this for an older amp as well. So say you have your HDMI in for, off a Blu-ray, but your amp doesn't have an HDMI port on it, you could use the red and white outs to get your audio to your amp if it's an older amp and doesn't support the HDMI. I've done that in the past, and I mean, all in all, it gets the job done. So that's your input from a device and your output to a device. All right, audio cable. So the audio cable is actually an in, say for example to hook a iPod up to. It's kind of like a reversed headphone jack. It would actually put the audio onto your TV, whereas the headphone jack would actually give the audio from your TV. So that's the difference between the two. Okay, so the next one is the DNET, located here. This is not a very commonly used input. It is actually exclusive to this Samsung TV and Samsung products. It basically is to network a bunch of devices together in a series of devices. Again, not very common. You probably won't use it. In fact, I had to research just to find out what it was. So that shows how often it is even used. Alright, so the next one we're going to talk about is the HDMI cables. Often people don't know what HDMI stands for. It actually stands for High Definition Multimedia Interface. So that's quite a mouthful, so I see why they went with HDMI. So basically, these two are on this TV. They are the most commonly used ports nowadays for pretty much everything, from Blu-rays to video games. That is your go-to cable. It gives you the best quality, best audio, basically all around. It does it all, and it does it the best. So if you can use HDMI cables, definitely use HDMI. The only thing is, with an HDMI cable, there's a lot of them out there. Basically, you'll get told a lot that, you know, you need the high-end ones for the best picture. That's not always the case. I mean, it does help, but to the naked eye, for most people's viewing, you know, the middle range ones are just fine. So that's the HDMI. Okay, so the next one we're going to talk about is the digital audio out, also known as the optical port. That's located right here. Basically, it's kind of a funny looking port. Uses a very specific cable. Now, the benefit of it is better than using, say, the AV for sound, but it's not quite as good as the HDMI. So basically, if your equipment has an HDMI port, then in most cases it would be best to transfer the audio signals via HDMI. This is because HDMI supports all types of audio signals, and you can send all the video and audio signals via one cable. So in layman's terms, if you can use an HDMI cable, again, for audio, it's the best. SVideo, located right here. This is also an older way to set up devices, kind of become obsolete over the years. Basically, the SVideo cables are used to transmit only video signals over a cable by dividing the video data into color and brightness signal. They are typically, again, used on older televisions that might not have an HDMI to improve picture quality. So not something you're going to run into very often. That's the SVideo. Okay, on the bottom here, I should mention, now this one here is actually just the power, if you were wondering. That's just the power for the TV, so that will look a little different depending on the make of the TV, the age of the TV. There's going to be a variety of different ways. That's just to get power here, just so you know. Okay, so the last two I want to talk about here are the LAN cable and the USB cable. Neither one of those are actually on this TV just because of the age of the TV. But basically what they do, the LAN cable is what you would hardline your router to. So basically right from your router you'd have a Cat5 or Cat6 cable running over to the LAN input. That would give you internet to your TV, so you could utilize your smart features such as streaming, anything online that your TV could do. Also, the USB is very common with computer type accessories like external hard drives, you know, hooking your camera directly to the TV so you can see your digital photos, things like that. So yeah, neither one of those appear, but I will make sure I put a picture of both up so you know what they look like. And other than that, that is basically what we have here and that I could think of for the moment. So I hope you found this video informative, and yeah, if you have any comments, just please leave them below. Thank you.